First to the top, Sir Edmund Hillary's Amazing Everest Adventure. Written by David Hill. Illustrated by Phoebe Morris. When Edmund Hillary was a boy in New Zealand, he built rafts to explore the Waikato River. When he grew up, he explored other places. He climbed mountains, he crossed Antarctica. He was one of the first two men to reach the summit of Mount Everest, the world's highest peak. This is his story. Ed Hillary was born in Auckland in 1919 and grew up in the little town of Tuakau. He was small and shy, but at high school he grew tall and strong. At university, he loved tramping. He visited the great snowy southern Alps. Straight away, he wanted to climb them. The Second World War came and Ed joined the Air Force. While training in Marlborough, he walked 50 kilometers to climb the nearest mountains in New Plymouth. He cycled to Mount Taranaki, tramped to the summit and back down, then cycled home. During the war, Ed flew in planes over the Pacific. After the war ended, he climbed more mountains in New Zealand, France, and Switzerland. Ed Hillary was now one of the best mountaineers in the world. In 1951, he was invited to join a British expedition to the Himalayan mountains in Nepal. The group hoped to plan their way to the top of Mount Everest. Ed felt thrilled to be near the world's highest peak. He met the local Sherpa guides who helped the climbers carry gear up the mountains. Together, they explored Everest's huge ice fields and deep crevasses, steep slopes, and glaciers. They could see a way to the top. It looked dangerous, but possible. The expedition returned to England to report its findings. Ed went back to New Zealand and worked as a beekeeper. 2 years later, he was called back to the Himalayas. A new expedition hoped to reach Everest summit. For days, the party tramped towards the mountains. They crossed icy rivers, they plodded through forests, snowy peaks rose ahead. From the base of Everest, they cut trails and carried up tents, food and oxygen to make a chain of camps. One day, Ed was cutting a trail with a Sherpa climber called Tenzing Norgay, who knew the mountain well. On their way back to camp, Ed fell into a crisis. Only the quick-thinking Sherpa's rope stopped him, crashing to his death. Tenzing had saved Ed's life. They always worked together after that. 9 camps were made across the dangerous Kumbu icefall, up the steep Lhotse snowface, and onto the South Col. From there, a sharp ridge sloped up to Era's summit. 2 British climbers were chosen as the first to head from Camp 9 to the top. Their oxygen failed, they kept falling and had to turn back. Who would be the next pair to try? Down at Camp 8, Ed held his breath. It was Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay. On 28 May 1953, the 2 men climbed in roaring gales to Camp 9. They scraped sleeping places on the steep slope, thinking the wind might rip their tent away. They held it down with oxygen tanks. Their camp was so high that the sky had started turning the black color of space. The pair lay breathing oxygen and slept for 2 hours. They drank hot lemonade, slept again, and shivered in their sleeping bags. Ed and Tenzing got up just before sunrise. The morning was clear and cold. Ed's boots were frozen stiff. He had to heat them over the little stove to soften them. They put on every piece of clothing. They had strapped oxygen tanks on their backs, roped themselves together, and set off at 6:30. The 2 climbers were just 400 meters below the summit, but in the high thin air, every step was a huge effort. On they struggled through thick snow, up to their waist in some places, cutting steps. The only sounds were the hiss of oxygen, the moan of wind, and their panting breath. At 9 o'clock, they reached more solid ground and began to climb faster. The final ridge lay ahead. They couldn't see the summit yet. Now a rock face rose in front, a 12-meter-high black wall. There were no handholds, no way up, except at one end was a thick sheet of ice. Between the ice and the rock was a gap. Ed squeezed in and pushed himself up, feet against the ice, shoulders against the rock. If the ice broke away, he could fall to his death. But the ice held. Ed reached the top and Tenzing followed him. They plodded up and up, cutting more steps. 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, they felt exhausted. Then Ed looked up. There was more sky above them than before. The ridge ended in a round dome a few meters away. They took deep breaths, cut the last steps, and they were on the summit. It was 11:30 on the morning of Friday, 29 May 1953. Humans had finally reached the top of Mount Everest. The two men shook hands. Tenzing flung his arms around Ed and hugged him. The Sherpa had brought a string of tiny flags. He tied them to his ice axe, and Ed took his photo with the blue-black sky above. They were on the roof of the world. Tenzing said prayers to the holy peak. He buried sweets in the snow, plus a colored pencil from his daughter. Ed left a small crust from another climber. They couldn't stay long. The climb down would be dangerous, and the weather might turn bad at any moment. They ate some chocolate. After 15 minutes, they started back down, tired and almost out of oxygen. They chopped more steps far below. Others with binoculars could see two tiny specks creeping down. Had they reached the top? Nobody knew. Ed and Tenzing struggled back past Camp 9 and down towards Camp 8. They staggered into it and told the waiting climbers what they had done. Next day, the whole party moved slowly down towards base camp. Everyone cheered. As they arrived, some burst into tears. The New Zealander and the Sherpa slept and slept, a messenger hurried to the nearest village. And on the same day that Queen Elizabeth II was crowned, the world heard that Everest had been climbed. Ed was knighted by the new queen and became Sir Edmund Hillary. He told friends, "Now I'll have to buy some new beekeeping overalls." Sir Ed went back to the Himalayas many times. He helped build schools and hospitals for the Sherpa people. He showed them how to play rugby. He and others made the first crossing of Antarctica's frozen land. He especially built tractors. He traveled up India's mighty river Ganges on a jet boat. When Tenzing Norgay visited New Zealand 18 years after the Everest climb, he and Sir Ed reached the top of another peak, Mount Victoria in Wellington. You can easily see Sir Edmund Hillary. He's on the New Zealand $5 note. The shy boy from Tuakau became one of the most famous people on Earth and the first to reach the top of the world. 1919, 20 July. Edmund Hillary is born in Auckland and brought up in the farming town of Tuakau, south of Auckland. 1944, 1945. Ed serves in the New Zealand Air Force. He climbs mountains. Whenever he can injured, serving in Fiji. 1930. Ed goes to Auckland Grammar School. He visits Mount Ruapehu. 1939. Ed tramps in New Zealand's South Island. 1952. Back in New Zealand, Ed works as a beekeeper. 1953. May, Ed, and others help make camps up the mountain. He works with Sherpa Tenzing Norgay. 1953. 29 May. The two climbers reached the summit of Everest. 1935. The Hillary family moves to Auckland. Ed's father takes up beekeeping. Ed attends Auckland University. 1951. A British expedition invites Ed to join them in planning a route to the top of 88.48 meters high Mount Everest. 1953. March, Ed is invited to join another British expedition which hopes to climb Everest. 1953. 28 May. Tenzing and Ed spend the night at Camp 9, the highest camp. 1929-1932. Ed and his brother Rex sail driftwood rafts down the Waikato River. 1946-1951. Ed climbs in New Zealand, France, and Switzerland. 1953 to June. Their successful climb is announced in England on the day of Queen Elizabeth II's coronation. 1953, 16 July. Ed becomes Sir Edmund Hillary. 1961, 1975. Ed and his family make many visits to Nepal. 1953, 3 September. He marries Louise Rose in Auckland. They have 3 children. Peter B., 1954. Sarah B., 1956. And Belinda B., 1959. 1977. Ed and his son Peter travel up India's Ganges River on jet boats. 1986. Tenzing Norgay dies. Ed attends his funeral in Nepal. 2003. 50th anniversary of the Everest climb. King of Nepal makes Ed a citizen of that country. 1955, 1958. Ed takes part in expeditions to cross Antarctica. 1975. March, Ed's wife Louise and his daughter Belinda are killed in an air crash in Nepal. 1971. Tenzing Norgay visits New Zealand. 1989. Ed returns to Auckland and marries June Mulgrew. 1985. Ed becomes New Zealand's High Commissioner to India. 2008. 208. 2008. 11 January. Edmund Hillary dies, aged 88. The news travels around the world in New Zealand. Flags are flown at half-mast as the nation mourns.
Thank you for reading with me. My name is Indika. I have autism. People like me with autism have very special interests. One of my interests is reading. I enjoy reading with you today. I hope you enjoy reading with me. Please come read with me whenever you like. Take care. Until the next story time. Goodbye for now.